let's update you now on this huge manhunt still underway in Maine in the United States after yesterday's mass shooting there. Police still searching for 40-year-old Robert Card after he'd targeted a bowling alley and a bar. Many children being caught in the gunfire at Lewiston in Maine.
Card had been admitted to a mental health institution during the summer, and it's understood that hundreds of police are combing the state searching for him after at least 18 people were killed.
Well, we can speak now to Marko Galbreath, who's a former Florida Police Sergeant and SWAT team member, because, Marko, we understand that there are SWAT teams as well as the FBI, as well as the Firearms and Drugs Agency, all sorts of law enforcement expertise trying to find him, but he's still on the run.
Yeah, he's still on the run. He's got mental issues. So right now, law enforcement is trying to navigate where he has been in the last few weeks, because he's working under predatory violence, which is where they plan their attacks. Where is he now? Has he committed suicide? He may have committed suicide in order to keep that fear up. He could be in another state, or he could be planning another attack. I don't think he knows, with his mental illness, I don't think he understands the difference between reality and fantasy. And that's very dangerous for a person to be out right now with that.
Yeah, and is the additional danger the fact that he is this Army reservist, a trained firearms instructor? He's got all that expertise, military expertise, at his behest as well.
Right, and we have to remember, law enforcement needs to remember that he's at the same level of training they are, or if not even better. So their tactics that they're going to use to track him down need to be at a much higher level than what they normally are, because of his training. Very, very, very concerning with this guy.
And the impact, Marko, that this has had on communities, being ordered to stay in home. I mean, this order now covers nearly 700 square miles. It's massive. I mean, how long could that order stay in place for, realistically?
That's tough to say. You know, hopefully they're able to track him through electronic means. If he's got a cell phone, if he's got using his credit card. With his training, I doubt he's going to be slipping up like that. But, you know, communities are locked down. This is where we need to think about the preparation. Do these people that are locked in their homes, do they have ample food and water? Do they have medical resources that they need on a continuing basis? So it can be long term. I think they'll probably start lifting some of the restrictions as time goes by, but we don't know where this guy is. So it's very concerning, especially for areas. We've got holidays coming up, especially for areas we had a weekend coming up. There's going to be events, there's going to be church services, and that's going to be concerning as well. So that's going to keep that element of lockdown and at a higher level of security with this weekend coming up. We don't know where this guy is and what his plans are.
We understand there will be a news conference shortly to update everyone, but as I said at the outset, a huge number of different agencies involved in this now. How does that work? Does each agency take a specialist role, or is it shared out geographically? How do you actually approach it?
They'll have one command post, and that command post, probably run by the FBI or ATF, U.S. Marshal Service, in the United States, is really good at tracking down people. So they'll have one central command post, and then they'll utilize those smaller and larger agencies to send them out to various locations. So they're all working under one umbrella at one command post. That way we've got things coordinated, and we're not double checking what we've already checked, and then we're not leaving any stone unturned.
What are the biggest challenges, do you think, facing the search teams at the moment?
The biggest challenge is he's not an ordinary citizen. He's not an untrained individual. He's trained by the National Guard. He was a firearms instructor, so he knows firearms. He knows tactics. So law enforcement, the biggest concern is law enforcement and the community really need to up their game with this guy because of his level of training and because of the equipment that he may have. We don't know what type of equipment, as far as firearms and tools, he has access to. So that's going to be a huge challenge, is they're not just dealing with the typical active shooter that doesn't have all this training.
Yeah, and certainly an assessment that he was firing what I think they call an AR-15, this lightweight assault rifle, firing high-velocity ammunition which can, go through car bodywork. There's this huge debate, of course, now in the States, isn't there, as to whether that type of armament should be curtailed or controlled a lot better than it is at the moment.
Well, we just saw in Israel, what a horrible attack. And my personal feeling is I've owned an AR for my entire life. I'm 57 and I've owned one for many years. It's never shot anybody. They try to turn it around. They call it an assault rifle. It's not an assault rifle. It's armament rifle. That's where it came from. So it's been twisted around, but it's not the firearm. It's not the tool. It's the person holding it. We have a mental health problem here in the United States, and we fail to address that. We want to go after the tool and not the person. But when we talk about Israel, if those citizens had that style rifle, I don't think Hamas would have been so successful in that attack.
Yeah, but clearly this has been deployed in a completely different arena, and the argument is that these can fire huge numbers of bullets in a very confined space, giving people very little chance of getting to cover or escaping.
They can, but any firearm can do that. If I was to get a 9mm pistol and I had numerous rounds of magazines on me, I'm trained to fire that in the same capability. It wouldn't have the same damage or stopping power, but I'm going to have this trained to reload that quickly. So again, it's not the tool, it's the person handling the tool. And this guy had a lot of mental illness that was being addressed. But maybe we missed some red flags with this guy, and that's what we need to look at. Is we need to look at the people and let's fix him. Let's not push him aside. He's coming forward and claiming he's got severe mental illness. That needs to be addressed. That's the problem.
Marko Galbreath, former Florida Police Sergeant and SWAT team member, thank you for bringing us your expert assessment. Thank you.